Excuse me. No. Come forward, please. Come forward. Hi. Hi. There's no kissing in the courtroom. I don't know why people think this is not a dating service. This is not where you're kissing people goodbye. I know what people see in Lifetime movies, but that's not allowed. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor, I apologize.
All right. What's your name?
Michael Hernandez.
Michael Hernandez?
Yes,
And were you supposed to be in court today?
ma'am. She's supposed to be court. I'm her support.
All right.
I apologize.
All right. Have a seat. And you need to sit on this side on the back row.
Yes,
Are you the same Waverly Whitlock who was placed on deferred adjudication in 2024 CR 5014 for the offense of possession of a controlled substance penalty group 1 less than 1 gram on June 25th, 2024 for a term of 2 years? Is that you?
Yes.
All right, state.
Your Honor, the state wishes to proceed on violation of condition number 4 in Bexar County, Texas. The defendant Waverly Whitlock did then and there fail to report to the supervision officer as directed for the months of July, August, and September of 2024 in violation of condition number 4.
How do you plead to that? True or not true?
True.
State.
We waive and abandon the remainders.
Any objection?
No, Judge.
Did you understand by pleading true to violation of condition number 4, the court could find it true, grant the motion, find you guilty, sentence you up to 2 years in the state jail facility and up to a $10,000 fine?
Yes, ma'am.
Knowing that, do you still wish to plead true to violation of condition number 4? Court will find violation of condition number 4 true. Is there a proposed agreement?
There is, Your Honor. It is for the court to grant the state's motion, enter an adjudication of guilt against the defendant, revoke her community supervision, and sentence her to 90 days in the Bexar County Jail under 444 of the Penal Code.
That is our agreement, Judge. She has a very little criminal history. The only history that I'm aware of is actually this case and a misdemeanor that she was also under probation for out of the same transaction. She was approved to move out of state to Arizona, and she had really nowhere else to go. She moved and left them. She's ready to move on out of Texas. She in fact was living in New Mexico, and that's where she wants to return to and reside. And so she asked that you grant that agreement and allow her to return to New Mexico.
All right, what has she done on probation?
I'm not quite sure as to the extent of what she is.
All right, do you want to raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give will be the truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you can lower your hand, state your name for the record.
Waverly Whitlock.
Just out of curiosity, usually they take jewelry. So is your ring attached to your finger or what's going on?
It's attached.
Oh, you can't remove it?
Can't.
Oh my gosh. So is it that it's too small or there's something that you did? Because I know now people are doing those things where you can't remove the jewelry. So is it one of those situations?
I gained weight.
Oh, okay. All right. So what have you done on probation?
I did attempt to call and check in.
When you
but
say
I
you
didn't
attempted to
respond.
call, what does that mean? Did you pick up the phone and call somebody?
Yes,
Who did you call?
I called the probation officer.
Which probation officer?
I don't know.
Was it Bexar County? Was it in the other county?
In Bexar County.
Okay. So how did you attempt to,
Others.
so where did you obtain the number to call?
I'm sorry?
Where did you obtain the number to call the probation officer in Bexar County? Right. So what else did you do? So you attempted to call. What else did you do?
That was it.
All right. So I don't
She was
understand.
hardly, I guess, on probation. I don't believe she was on
I
probation
didn't.
very long.
All right. So she hasn't done anything. I don't understand why it would give her 90 days, 1244. She hasn't done anything.
Well, so Judge, this would be a conviction on a record, and it would be something that it is a consequence of that decision. And so you're just asking that you allow her to accept that consequence and leave here in Texas.
All right. So the court will consider 1244, but I'm not considering 90 days for 1244. So if y'all want to talk about that, you can. Does anyone know how many days does she have?
She has 90 days.
Oh,
jail time.
yeah, see,
Well, so I mean, it would be up to a year in Bear County Jail, Judge. So
this is what I will tell you, because you're telling the court that she doesn't have a record. This is a possession less than a gram. I will tell both parties, I will not go as high as a year. So if you all want to negotiate on a time, you can.
So Judge, our recommendation is 180 days for.
All right. Is that what you're in agreement to?
You okay with the case? Yeah.
Okay. Yes, Judge.
All right. So my understanding, the parties have agreed to 180 days under 1244 at the Bear County Jail. Is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes.
Are you asking the court to follow that agreement?
Yes.
Are you waiving your right to appeal? All right, let me explain something to you. With the 180 days at the Bear County Jail, some people are like, oh, I'm supposed to get 2 for 1 or 3 for 1. I'm not in charge of that. The only thing I'm in charge of is sentencing you. Whatever, if they want to give you 2 for 1 or 3 for 1, that's completely up to the jail. The only thing I can say is I'm sentencing you to 180 days and they can't go over 180-day sentence. Do you understand? Now, what I can tell you is I'm not going to pick up the phone and call the jail and say, I want this person to serve day for day time. You understand?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Abrams, are you in agreement with revocation? All right, the court is finding violation of condition number 4 true. The court is going to grant the motion, find you guilty, revoke, sentence you to 180 days in the Bear County Jail under 1244. And let me just see if there's anything else that's due for your plea bargain agreement. All right, there is supposed to be money paid to Zachary Watson. Has that been paid? Was there any determination of a restitution amount?
Not that I'm aware of.
Probation, any determination of a restitution amount for Zachary Watson? State, I'm assuming that was something that was taken in consideration.
Yes, Judge. So she did, well, she had a misdemeanor burglary of a vehicle that she was also revoked on, and I believe that it was a condition in that case mirrored in this case.
All right, so the question becomes, have you paid anything to Zachary Watson?
No.
I'm going to put in here restitution, if any, to Zachary Watson. Is there any objection?
No, Judge.
All right. And the reason why I'm including that is because that was a part of your plea bargain agreement. All right, we can go off the record. Here's the thing. It appears that you may have drug problems. Don't visit those drug issues on your mom. You need to make sure that you get into sober support meetings. That's what they call the NAAA meetings now. Or if you need inpatient treatment, there are plenty of places that are free. If you can't find a place that's free and you need the help and you want the help, you can always come back here. I will, use whatever contacts I have in here to reach somebody in Mexico or Arizona or wherever you may be. But if you don't get a handle on this and control this, you're going to be picking up more and more cases, and you're going to look up and a majority of your life is going to be passed you by, and it's going to be in a haze. Because how you've been liking the Bear County Jail. Yeah. So you got to remember that. Okay. All right. Good luck to you.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Now, so for this case, there were some officer records or something
Yes,
in state.
we're not going to sponsor that officer's witness.
All right. But the question is whether you are going to sponsor the officer or not. Did that officer have anything to do with this case?
Yes, he did.
She did.
So then the question becomes whether or not the defense is just going to accept that that officer is not going to be called as a witness, because maybe they want to call the officer as a witness. I don't know. So where are we on that? Have you all conferred over that?
Well, not over that. I mean, he's not somebody I would want to call. With.
All right. So then do you need the records then? Since they say they're not sponsoring him as a witness, they're not going to call him.
That's correct. Now, because of that, there is a secondary officer that they intend to go forward with, who didn't make the arrest, who didn't make the stop. And I've got some motions I'd like to file on that.
Well, why? I mean, I don't understand why that hasn't. been done. What motions need to be filed on that?
Well, I don't know that that officer can sponsor this other officer's stop and video when she wasn't even there.
I mean, well, that'll be something for you to take up at trial and see whether or not, and I'll make a ruling on whether or not that officer is allowed to testify. But whether or not that officer is allowed to testify, I can't make that decision unless you're actually in trial, because I don't know what the state's evidence is going to be. I don't know if that officer has any ties to this case whatsoever, tangentially or not. So that would be something that would have to be taken up at trial, whether or not that witness is relevant.
Well, there is an issue on the stop itself. But it is the video that was made by the officer that they're not going to sponsor.
All right. So what I'm saying is this, and I want everybody to hear me clearly to make sure that I'm communicating what I'm trying to say to you.
Yeah.
In a jury trial, witnesses will be called. I don't know anything about your case. The only thing I know is what you're charged with. I do not, and I'm not allowed to do a pre-jury trial where I hear everything and make decisions, and then people can then have a trial. So what will end up happening is the state will call witnesses. If there's a witness that the state intends to call and the defense thinks that that witness is not relevant, then I will make a ruling. If I determine that that witness is not relevant, then guess what? That witness won't testify. For example, on your case, I know nothing about your case. Hopefully, Ms. Abrams knows nothing about your case. So if the state were to decide to call Ms. Abrams as a witness in this case that she knows nothing about, then you know what your attorney would probably do? Your attorney would probably say, Your Honor, I'm object to Ms. Abrams as a witness. She knows nothing about this case. Then you know what I will say? Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, if you'll step outside, we're going to have a hearing outside your presence. And then I will have your attorney to question the witness. He'll probably say, Ms. Abrams, were you at this scene? No, I was not. Do you know anything about this case? No, I don't know anything about this case. Then I will turn to the state and I will say, State, how is this witness relevant? And then if they tell me, well, she doesn't know anything, then guess what I will say? This witness is not allowed to testify. Ms. Abrams will step down. The jury will come back in. I will give the jury instructions and I will say, Ms. Abrams, the witness who was called, you're disregard any testimony that you've heard from her. It's as though she never even appeared. But I won't know if she knows anything about this case or not unless we're in a jury trial.
Well, then we do have some motion and limine issues on the case.
With the motion in limines, the way that happens, unless there is some legal reason that it appears that testimony or something cannot be heard, then I can make a ruling on it. But I can't grant motion in limines when I know nothing about the case. For example, the only way that I will be able to grant a motion in limine is, this is a DWI. Let's say somebody's saying you committed a murder also, right? That is unrelated to this DWI. With that, I can say that is not coming in whatsoever. But usually with motion in limines, it's different things where the attorney does not want certain things brought before the jury. And what I'll tell everybody is I'll say, look, state or defense, if the state has a motion in limine, I'll say, if you're going to get into the fact that she cut down Auburn's oak tree or whatever, I'll be like, y'all need to approach before you question that witness about that. And then the jury will go outside and then we'll talk about it. And I'll say, okay, what does her poisoning or cutting down the tree in Auburn have to do with this case? And again, if it has nothing to do with the case, I'll be like, it's not coming in. Or if I find that it's more prejudicial than probative, it's not coming in. But I can't make those decisions until I know what's going on with the case, because the only thing I know about your case is what you're charged with. I don't know any facts of the case whatsoever. I don't know. The only way I know about blood draws or whether was there a blood draw or not is because of discovery issues that were asked for. So that's where we are.
Well, Judge, I do believe I have a right to file a motion to suppress the blood draw. I have
Yeah, but
right
has that
to
been
file a
filed?
motion to suppress the video.
Has it been filed?
I'm going to file it now, but this is the first notice that I received that they're not going to use that witness at all.
Okay.
So I'm asking you to give me a 2801 pretrial hearing.
Well, you all need to file those and file it today, and it'll be heard today. Thank you.
I don't know that I can file it today.
This case has been going on since July 2024. And I know Ms. Cotner is ready for this case to be concluded. And this case is going to be concluded. So it needs to be filed today. We've been here forever on this case.
Well,
So
Judge,
file the
this
motion.
is the state's delay, not mine.
Mhm.
You understand that?
I do understand that. And what I'm
Okay.
telling you is motions need to be filed, and those motions need to be filed today. I don't know how many other ways I can say it.
All right,
Your
so-
motion needs to be filed today.
I will file it today, but it's what I heard you say you would hear it today.
File your motion. State, have your witnesses here. Discuss, confer.
Okay. Very good. So, is Mr. Soriano excused?
No, you're supposed to be conferring.
Well, assuming we don't do a video, a plea on his case.
You all need to confer. And then once you've conferred, then you can approach attorneys. You need to confer with the state before you approach the court. Thank you. All right, Aceves.
Judge, Mr. Alcides indicates that his attorney won't be present today. So this is just a compliance check-in.
All right, so hi, how are you doing? Are you surviving the cold?
Yeah, very difficult.
Well, here's the thing, in San Antonio, and I have done this, but I don't do it anymore. When it's super hot, when it's 100 degrees, everybody's like, oh, it's so hot. And now we have this beautiful weather. People are like, it's so cold. I'm loving this weather. I'm just gonna own it and say, I love it. You can tell the people who are from colder climates.
Mhm.
I still don't understand this, walking around with shorts with a sweater on.
They say as long as the top half is warm, the bottom half is, they don't really get cold down there.
All right, I need somebody to do some research on that. Mahia, is there anybody willing to research that for me? I'm not gonna do it because my mom would be upset. So how's everything going with you?
Pretty good, man. Still keeping on my same job and going to probation once every month and doing the drug test and all that.
That is awesome. You've been doing a great job. Ms. Abrams, is there anything else?
Judge, his probation officer indicates that there have been no issues. He's been doing very well on his probation.
Okay.
And we would ask that possibly we can amend his field visits to once every other month or once every 3 months at this time, Judge.
Okay. All right, we can do field visits. We'll start you off with once every other month,
Okay.
and then slowly we'll do it to maybe once every 3 months and do that route. It's sort of like being, when you send a child off to college, sometimes you've had them on lockdown and then they go to college out of state and they just lose their mind. But we're not gonna let that happen to you.
So as of right now, there are no concerns, Judge.
Okay,